two suggested ways to approach this. The first way is kind of the secondary way. I'd prefer you do it the second way I'm going to show you, but here's if you're just looking at the information provided. Okay. I'd start with the unknown. So if I start with PF, I'm going to use in the similarity statement and identify PF corresponds to what length? TA, and what is the length of TA? 7. So I know that that ratio has to be equal to, and now I need to find a pair of sides between these two triangles that I know specific values for, because I need a specific ratio. So let's take a look at FQ. So FQ is the first and last. I have a value for that. It's 10. And it corresponds to TX. Do I have a value for TX? Yeah, so this is the ratio I can use. What if I had tested PQ? So PQ has a value of 11. Its corresponding length is AX. Do I have a value for that? No. So the only one I have to use is this 8 and 10. And so I set this up. PF has the side of 10 in it, so I'll start with that number in its numerator over its corresponding measure of 8. And so this would be your ratios. Set them equal. Look to reduce. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Multiply both sides by 7. And you're able to solve for PF. That's 35 over 4. Okay. Now, the way that I would so if you're doing it this way, don't rely just on the way that the pictures are oriented to answer your questions. I'm guessing that a number of you, when you set up your ratios, used 11 over 8 because that's where they look like they correspond. Okay. So the downfall to using this method is you might be tempted to misinterpret the picture. And the way to avoid that is to redraw it. And when you redraw it, simply redraw it so that it's in the same orientation as its similar pair. So if I take this triangle here and I redraw it so that it's aligned the same way as this one. So my T up here, so up above, I'm going to put the corresponding point F, and then A is to the left, so I'm going to use P to the left. X is to the right, so I'm going to use Q to the right. So if I redrew this triangle and then labeled the pieces, so PQ is 11 and FQ is 10, now I can just use the orientation and the visual aspect of it when I'm comparing these, because now the corresponding pieces actually line up the way that they did when I introduced this anyway, which is the kind of what you're used to seeing. So if you can align them, redraw it so that they are aligned correctly, you can now take your ratio PF over 7 is equal to, and you can see which pieces match, 10 over 8. So it's just easier to do it that way. It really doesn't take much time. I would encourage you to do it like that.